Yo, what's up? SloMoBackSlap hitting you with another video. Today we're going to have a little discussion, a little talk about working from home, a reality for a lot of people out here in the workforce, working from home and the impact of that in the video game industry. I know that might seem a little weird, like why are we talking about working from home? But if you want to see games that were supposed to be coming out this year, working from home and how a company deals with having their employees work remotely is a very, very important topic. It's pretty much the only way it's going to happen, because with social distancing, with the way of the world right now, with us quarantining, trying to get a handle on the health risks that the world is dealing with, working from home is the best method for many of these developers, and many of them that we know of that are delivering games that are coming out, supposed to launch this year, are engaged in the entire company working from home. I'm talking Naughty Dog, 343 Industries, Sucker Punch. We have developers that are just trying their best to get their games as bug-free as possible, to get all the features working as polished and squeaky, pristine as possible. And that's difficult to do when you now have to get used to working a different way all over again. Now, I am someone that has worked from home multiple times, not exclusively all the time. I am working from home right now, have been doing so for the past week, but it's something that I'm fairly familiar with. There's a routine I have when I work from home. I try to get as much done as early as possible and then relax throughout the rest of the day and still keep an eye on things in order to make sure I'm not missing anything with email, I'm not missing any alerts. I typically can't work from home when my kids are here. It's pretty rough because my kids will interrupt me, just kick in the door of my office and act like I am only here for them, which in some way I am, but it's not like working in the office. Some of the other issues that you have working from home is communication. So if you're not used to working from home, you start to realize that a lot of the communication that you got with your team, with your boss, with various people in the office was all verbal. Well, not all verbal, mostly verbal. The things that you need to work on, understanding what needed to be done, understanding what people say when they come to you with an issue that needs to be resolved. A lot of times we picked up on what we needed to be done based off of facial expressions of how serious things were, based on someone actually saying, come to my desk and let me show you something. And then you actually taking a look at it and be like, okay, I can fix this. Can't do that when you're working remotely. Yeah, you could have Skype calls, you could have video calls, but there's still a level of, it's pretty different than actually being there face to face. And when people are relying on Skype messages, on emails, on official correspondence channels in order to get things done, it becomes a whole different story. Information gets lost. And then when miscommunication happens, you lose time, valuable time that you could have been using fixing issues, fixing bugs, getting the game ready. Now I'm a network engineer, and have worked in all of my years in working in IT networking on various VPN tunnels. And if you are not a outfit that was set up for that initially, you're gonna have a really rough time trying to get all that stuff set up. You're gonna have a really rough time having someone on staff that knows what they're doing in order to have it set up correctly. If you're an outfit that has not been set up to work remotely, what are your people going to be at home working on? If you are a graphics artist that needs to be able to render certain things, you need to have a machine that's capable of doing that. The same level of hardware that you have at work, or now are you going to be allowed your people to take their equipment and take it home with them? Maybe, maybe not. Do your people know how to reset everything once they get home so that all the hardware is working the way it should? Maybe, maybe not. And with all the social distancing going on, do you have actual dedicated staff on the payroll that understands the networking to be able to get that done? Some of these, although we think these guys are very technical, some of them are very specialized in working in specific things. They may not actually know how to do any of this stuff. And if their game doesn't have any use for networking whatsoever. They may not have anyone on staff that actually knows how to get this stuff set up in a short period of time. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be social distancing from one another. You're supposed to be not be touching one another, but then you gotta need someone to go around to every single person's piece of equipment they're going to be using and either remotely going into it while they're at home and setting things up the correct way so that they can be able to connect to their equipment in the office. I would say probably the best way to do it is to, and who wants to spend the money on this, but hey, it's not my job to figure out like how much stuff costs and then actually make that cost difference. But buy people the equipment that they need to work from home, and then set them up with technology on both their home equipment and their work equipment to allow them to remotely access that. And then they can essentially be working on their work workstation from their home workstation. And then they can be at work, but not necessarily at work. And that will kind of eliminate the need to have to set up or move firewalls to allow a remote user to access secure networks, secure servers that have shared drives full of data that you don't want anyone else getting their hands on. That will eliminate data going back and forth over what you would think is a secure VPN tunnel, but may not be as secure as you think it is, based upon how you set things up, based upon how you firewalled things on your network. Anytime you open up your network to outside use, you are giving up some level of security for flexibility. And that's something that there's a cost value of doing that. The cost is we could potentially be opening up our secure information for other people to steal, to leak without our consent. But then the flexibility is that we need to be able to still get work done in the middle of a crisis. So these things have to be weighed out. These things have to be thought of. They have to come together and make plans to make this work in order to get people to just work from home, to just have working from home be like working at work. And that's not even taking into account what we already talked about communication, the lack of communication. It's not even talking about the other distractions that come from working from home. The fact that no one's around you to see if you stop working to go play a game on Xbox or PlayStation. Who's going to stop you? Who's going to say anything about that? No one's around to see you watching Netflix while you're doing work. And whether you're actually capable of doing the multitasking necessary to actually make sure your work is accurate without making mistakes while you do that. Some of us have children, and some of us with children who are also not going to school due to quarantining, are losing our minds trying to get work done while kids are begging for food, which they should, they're kids, that's fine. Begging for food though, begging for something to do, just getting on your nerves, just touching your stuff, just doing everything that kids do, as adorable as they are, but not adorable right now because you're trying to get work done and you want to kill them. That's the reality of working from home. And we as gamers have to show a little bit of restraint, a little bit of patience, a little bit of understanding and empathy for these individuals who are working on these games and really trying to get that game out on the deadline, get it set and turning gold, and a lot meaning that the game's going to release on time and hopefully as bug-free as possible. And we need to not be the spoiled brats that we show ourselves to be every now and then when we get on our soapbox to complain about how unfortunate it is, how inconvenienced we are when our games get delayed. So you guys let me know how you feel about this. Have you ever worked from home before? Do you know the struggles of that? Or do you have an opposite opinion where you feel like it ain't that serious? Tell me why you don't think it's that serious. I really, really do want to know. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the dislike button if you didn't. It's all good. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos that I just go into just talking about stuff that's going on. Just kind of thinking out loud on what's happening in the gaming world and how I see things. So yeah, let me know how you guys feel. Hit the subscribe button if you like stuff like that. And I'm out. Peace.